Good evening. It is Thursday, December 5th. This is the finance portion of our committee meeting. My name is Tracy Ozeki. I'll be chairing tonight. I'm going to start with roll call to my left.
Michael Roosevelt, School Board.
Andrea Mangold, Director of District Communications.
Jessica Binda, Supervisor of Facilities.
Anthony Rapp, Director of Business Administration.
Andy Sanko, Superintendent.
Joe Hidalgo, School Board.
Bob Hickey, School Board.
Peter Amuso, Solicitor.
Ann Horner, School Board.
Linda Stone, School Board.
Ed Tate, School Board.
Matthew McCarthy, Tech Integration.
Yota Piley, School Board. Nicole Khan, School Board.
Okay, with that, I am going to pass it over to Mr. Rapp, please.
Thank you, Ms. Ozeki. A reminder that for our most accurate and reliable information concerning our district, please refer to resources, websites, and social media platforms managed by the Council Rock School District. We advise the community to exercise caution when relying on the accuracy of social media and ask the community to verify any social media content with the district for accuracy. If you question what you are seeing, need a fact check, or additional details on a matter, please reach out to the district directly. Our contact information is readily available on our website at www.crsd.org. So first, our agenda for tonight is a two-item agenda as well. We're going to discuss tax collector compensation and December bill payments. So tax collector compensation, we have to set our rates for the tax collectors every 4 years before the election of the tax collectors, which will take place in 2025. We have to set it by February 15th. I'm just bringing this to your attention so that you have time to look at the tax collector manual. I'm not asking you to approve this until the January 16th meeting. So I wanted to give you plenty of time and heads up to look at this information. Right now, our current regular compensation for tax collections is they receive $3.75 per bill issued for real estate and interim real estate tax. They also receive $1.50 per occupation assessment tax bill. We also pay for the forms, the printing of forms and postage, as well as any charges to obtain Bucks County assessment data from the county. We also reimburse 75 cents per interim real estate tax bill or additional occupational assessment tax bill after the original duplicate for postage and printing expenses. So if they have to send out a second bill, then we give them an additional 75 cents. In the current tax collector manual, well, first of all, so we're recommending for the regular compensation that we keep the current compensation. We are the fourth highest compensation among Bucks County school districts, and we are in line with many other Bucks County school districts. I do want to say that I am meeting with the tax collectors next week. They would like to discuss the compensation, but as of right now, the way we've written the tax collector manual is that the compensation remains the same. There is also in the current tax collector manual an additional compensation clause where if the tax collector meets all 5 of these criteria, they become a qualified tax collector, deposit all funds by next business day after receipt, provide a data file of payments in a specified format, issue interim and additional occupation bills, assessment bills within 3 days of receipt, and issue postcards to notify residents that they are approaching the penalty period by October 10th. If they meet all those requirements, they do receive additional compensation. During the last 4 years, or last 3 years, since we're still kind of in the 4th year, I believe only one tax collector has taken advantage of this for one period. So they've not met these requirements. We're recommending that we're going to remove the additional compensation since they're not meeting it, and we can't make them do these things. So since it's not there and it's not being met, we'd like to remove it. The thought process behind the quick receipt was if they deposited quickly and didn't wait a few days to make their deposit, then we would be able to generate more interest from that, but it's not happening, and we can't make them do that. So I recommend that we remove it from the tax collector manual. And again, the compensation and manual is to be approved at the January 16th, 2025 board meeting.
Okay. Questions, Linda?
Yeah, is to be qualified tax collector, you have in quotes, does that mean there's certain training that they have to?
Yes, yes.
So they would still have to do that regardless?
No.
They're not,
They don't have to do
so
that.
they don't have
They
to?
do not have to do that. All they have to do is win the election.
There you go.
Not really.
Ms. Warner?
Now, you're not giving them an increase in salary, but they're based on their tax bills. So as the taxes increase, whereas the number of tax payers increases, they're getting an increase.
They would increase from basic on that.
Okay.
Ms. Warner?
So you're meeting with them next week, and this is my first time going through this. Do you communicate, oh, it is? Do you communicate with them this?
I did give them this information
The
today.
team already, so they're
I was
aware of
talking
everything
about
that would be and that we would go on.
Yeah, they're aware that they want to talk to me about it. I'm not, I will, hear what they have to say about it and bring it back to you.
And then bring it back to us. So there'll be communication back to us.
Yeah, so I will talk about this again next month, but I wanted to get this, I wanted to make everyone aware that this is coming. I wanted to give you a copy of the tax collection manual. And that'll be, I just want to, I had the revisions typed up today. I want to look at it and I'll mail it out to the board tomorrow for review before the January finance committee meeting.
Great, thank you.
We have a lot of questions down at this end, Mr. Rapp. Ms. Khan?
Oh, I just had a quick question regarding compensation. So if they're meeting with you next week, the tax collectors, is it negotiable, the compensation?
Negotiable, it's not negotiable. We set the
Okay.
compensation.
Okay.
They would like an opportunity to talk about it, so I'll give them
You'll
the
listen.
opportunity to talk about it, but it's really the school district's decision. It's an elected position, we set the salary for our collections, and so.
That's it?
That's-
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you set the salary for the,
Thank you.
Mr. Roosevelt?
Tony, you mentioned that only one tax collector took advantage of the additional compensation.
in 1 year,
In 1 year. Out of a pool of how many?
5.
5. Well, that'll be interesting, I suppose, to point out if they're looking for additional compensation, they haven't taken advantage of it.
Thank you.
Ms. Pally?
Don't we need to give them an incentive to collect this as quickly as possible? I mean, because we take the money and we invest it, right? So we don't want to delay the receipts.
Yeah, we tried, and there was a lot of resistance to it, so we can't make them. So we're recommending to take it out. I mean, I would love to be able to have those couple extra days of interest or 5 days of interest, depending on when it's done, but.
What is the extra compensation if they,
I'd have to look it up, and if you can give me a minute.
I mean, even if we get like interest and like a certain number of receipts, maybe it's worth because our interest is usually, or like our investment return is pretty high.
I mean, it would be better, it would be more than what we give them, but it's hard to estimate exactly how much it would be because, it's not the money that we wouldn't have time to put this money into the higher level investments that we've been making, as far as the government notes that we've been putting our money in, that won't change the timing of that. This just changes the amount of days that it's in TD Bank before we do that. So it's like that extra interest that we've been collecting is not affected by this as much as it's a couple days, depending on when they do their deposits, when it's in TD Bank, because, and it has to do with, like it also has to do with what bank they want to use, and they get to pick what bank they use. We can't make them use the bank that we want them to.
We can't?
We cannot. We can, as long as they're paying us, we can't make them pick the bank that we want them to.
Okay. Is it possible to find out how much the additional compensation is, incentive?
Yeah,
I mean, we don't need it right now. What if we have to do like a risk reward kind of analysis?
one second, I'll tell you. Sorry.
We should play Christmas music while we're waiting.
Depends on the number of bills, and it's a flat amount. If it's less than, depending on the years, in the first 2 years, if it was less than 5,000 real estate bills, they would get an extra 2,000 in the first 2 years, 2,400. In the second 2 years, if it was 5,001 to 9,999, they would get 4,000 in each of the first 2 years that they did it, and 4,800 in the third and fourth year. And if they had more than 10,000 real estate bills, they would get an additional 6,000 in each of the first 2 years, and 7,200 in each of the last 2 years. So that's, depending on the amount of bills that you do, that could be significant. So that's the compensation that they would get for that.
And how many do they have?
Well,
How many tax bills do they have?
They have, it depends on the tax collector. We have, I did send this out to the board. So just to talk about real estate tax, Newtown Borough, 914, Newtown Township, 9,858, Northampton, 18,262.
Big difference.
No, I'm sorry, that's not correct. Let me start over. Newtown Borough is 994, Newtown Township is 8,141, Northampton is 14,612, Upper Makefield is 3,603, and Wrightstown is 1,289.
So 3 out of the 5, they have no incentive because they don't meet the threshold.
No, there were different questions.
No, it was.
No, the threshold is less than 5,000, so everyone would get.
It's a 5,000.
Yes.
So, but Newtown Borough has only 900.
Right, so 5,000, so anything under 5,000, so they would qualify for either 2,000 in the first 2 years or 2,400 in the second 2 years.
Less than 5,000.
Yeah, less than 5,000. So it starts at 0, that additional compensation. It goes up to over 10,000.
Thank you.
Ms. Stone?
There's a huge discrepancy in the income because of the number of taxpayers in each of those
Right.
5 areas. So the two that are the very high-end townships, are those tax collectors working full-time? Is that, I mean, it can't be a full-time position.
I don't, well, they're not only collecting our taxes as well, though they do collect taxes for the township or the borough, depending on where they are, and for the county, I believe. So there is other work. So again, this isn't their only compensation.
So this is not their only compensation?
For being a tax collector, for being elected to this position, no.
Okay.
There is 2 other entities that they collect compensation from.
Okay, Mr. Hickey and then Ms. Horner.
Generally, like you said, they don't meet the qualifications, but generally, are these tax collectors depositing that money next day that you're aware of? Or are there any tax collectors who are, I'll say, negligent in the sense that they kind of wait a longer time, a long period of time. You know, I would assume that when these tax collectors get the checks, that they would put them in somewhat quickly, you know, within a day or two.
It's varied. It's, some of them within a day or two, some of them.
Well,
A week or two.
is there a, can you tell me if there's an offender? For example, they all have to run for public office. And say the tax collector in one of the townships is constantly late and he's waiting 10 days, you know, this is something that pressure can be made to bear on him to say, hey, look, you know, you're holding our money for 10 days, you know, you're looking to, I mean, they all run this year, right?
Yes.
Right, so I mean, this is something that maybe we can make sure that they're putting in our deposits in a timely fashion.
Well, the thing is, I would not say that any of them are negligent, and that's not a word that we should use.
Okay, good.
Because they follow, they deposit according to what they're allowed to deposit by the state
Okay.
tax collector law.
We'd like them to do it sooner, but you're saying.
We prefer sooner, we tried to encourage that with additional compensation, it did not work. Rather than continue to fight against something we don't have control over, we would recommend that we move on from that attempt, and that they make, you know, they do what they're allowed to do by law, and that would be the administration's recommendation.
Good enough.
Ms. Horner?
Okay, you already said the 5 township, because my question was, can we just let the public know the five township boroughs, which you've already just said was Newtown Township, Newtown Borough, Northampton, Wrightstown, right, and then Upper Makefield,
Yes.
right? And then, right, I've done some research and stuff, and that's exactly, because I was wondering, how does this all come to us and to publicly, so public knows, because we all need to understand, how does it get to us, and what's the law that they have to follow to make sure exactly to that they have to follow to make sure we get that money. So, correct on that, and that's, I wanted to add on that too, if we can elaborate to make sure that they had to follow state law
Yes. And they do.
to follow to get back into the district, so.
Yeah, they follow state law to send the money to the district.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Okay.
The next item on the agenda is the December bill payments. So we pay our bills, the majority of our bills, except for utilities, we pay them once a month. It's always the Friday following the regular board meeting. The last time that we paid our bills was on November 22nd, the day after the November 21st board meeting. We certainly aren't able to pay all the bills that we would normally pay by tomorrow. So we don't have anything prepared to go out tomorrow. Usually we prepare the bills the week ahead. So what we're doing, and this is exactly what we did last year, is we're looking to, for the school board to delegate approval to pay the December bills on the regularly scheduled date of December 20th, 2024 to the Director of Business Administration. And then we would provide you with the regular bill list that we normally provide you with at the January 16th school board meeting. And this is exactly what we did last year, because there's a lot of effort that goes into paying bills, a lot of signatures, a lot of double checking invoices and receiving slips and all that. So in order to get that done, to have, you know, and if we waited between December 5th and January 16th, then there would be a lot of late notices we'd be getting up in the business office. So we're asking for the board's approval to pay the bills. You will still be able to approve the bills that were paid at the December meeting. Many of our bills, as you know, are recurring, so we do have leverage if there's anything that gets paid that the board has a problem with. This is the only thing finance-wise that we're asking for you to approve tonight at the special meeting.
Questions? Mr. Hickey?
Maybe it's a data entry error on my part. But according to the calendar I have, we still are scheduled to have a board meeting on the 19th. Maybe I'm mistaken, that it was canceled, or like I said, I have it penciled in my calendar, and I'm okay with canceling the meeting. I just don't know if we have a formal no meeting. I mean, because I write them in there, I mean, it was from months ago, whenever it gets sent out. And as I said, maybe it's just a data entry error on my part, if we could just double check to make sure that nothing is there, and if it is, that we send out a formal cancellation.
I'll follow up on that. We originally, it was scheduled when the board calendar was set for December 19th. It was adjusted to December 12th and then adjusted a third time for tonight, December 5th. But I'll follow up on the Outlook invitation from the 19th.
Yeah, I hate to come all by myself.
I'll help you with the outcome.
Thanks,
I'll
Michelle.
have some beer.
Yeah,
I still
it
have
was
it on my
take-
calendar too.
Other questions?
That's on my personal calendar.
I mean, my personal calendar.
Thank you for that.
Anything else? Tony?
The last is upcoming agenda items. We're still working with the auditor to get audit results. I did talk about at last month's meeting, which was a couple weeks ago, about the bus driver GPS. We're currently updating the buses with the new maps and getting that stuff installed. So we should have more information available for you for that at the January meeting. I believe we'll have Matt Adams, manager of transportation, come and he and I will talk about that and give you a little walkthrough as to what that's going to entail. And you know, hopefully that's going to take care of our issues with substitute buses, not issues, but you know, they'll be able to do those. We have a substitute, they'll be able to do those runs better and not have not be late and that, and better way of doing routing going forward. And so we're really looking forward to that. And then we have the new reporting system that we have in the business office. It's up and running. We had a tutorial on that yesterday with the company. Cheryl and I did, and it's really awesome. I think you're going to be very impressed with the information we're going to be able to provide you with on a monthly basis. So it's going to give us the ability to easily bring you the things that you've been asking for as far as where the district stands on a month-to-month basis.
Great.
And I do, going back to the bus thing, again, I do want to give credit to the parent that brought this to our attention and, the impetus to look into improving the bus GPS, adding GPS to the buses. And that's all I have.
Great.
Anything else? Okay, we're adjourned.